In a world where time is money, and survival is a race against the clock, join Will Salas as he challenges a society where the wealthy can live forever, and the poor struggle to survive day by day. As the pursuit of justice unfolds, the tension rises, and the battle against time becomes a fight for freedom. A voice talks about how things are in this world. People stop getting older at 25 because of science, but there's a problem. After turning 25, they are made to live for just one more year. Time is like money here, you earn it at your job, but you also spend it to get things and services. When you run out of time, you die. Will Salas is a young guy in Dayton, a poor part of the Southwest USA. He lives from one day to the next, earning just enough to get by. He shares time with his always young mom, Rachel Salas, who is 50, but has worked for 2 more days. She gives Will 30 minutes for lunch, and they plan to celebrate her birthday when she's back. In this place, everyone has a bright green digital clock on their arms, showing how much time they have left. Will is kind and gives 5 minutes to a young girl who's asking for help, Maya. On his way to work, Will buys coffee, but the price has just gone up. As he walks, he sees a dead body in the streets, because he ran out of time. Will works in a plant making shiny cassettes, but after his shift, he realizes he's paid less because quotas increased. At a bar with his friend Burrell, they notice a man treating everyone to drinks, showing off over 116 years on his arm. Will knows the man isn't from the ghetto and might attract trouble. The Minutemen, a criminal gang, show up to forcibly take the man's time. Burrell and others scatter, but Will steps in to help the man, Henry Hamilton, escape. They hide in an old building, where Henry explains the time is currency system, designed for population control. The rich can live longer, even become immortal, while the poor die sooner. Henry, tired of living so long, passes his time to Will at dawn, despite Will saying the rich don't deserve it. Will wakes up by himself, having received 116 years of time and a message not to waste it. Looking through a window, he spots Henry sitting on the bridge, planning to end his life. Will rushes out to stop him, but arrives too late. Henry's time runs out, and he falls into the stormwater channel. Will notices street cameras recording him and hurries back home. Will meets up with Burrell and his family, showing him the new time he got. To thank Burrell for being a good friend, Will gives him 10 years of time. Burrell cautions him that staying in Dayton with that much time could be dangerous and might get him killed. However, Will has a plan to take his mom to New Greenwich. Rachel repays a 2-day loan at a Weiss ATM, but struggles to catch a bus home as the fare increased to 2 hours, and she has only 90 minutes left. In a panic, she has to run. Will, waiting at the bus stop, senses something is wrong and runs towards Rachel. They meet in between, but it's too late, and the mother dies in her son's arms. Later, Will arranges for a fancy stretch Lincoln limo to pick him up and take him to a wealthier time zone. Passing through 4 toll booths with increasing fares, he arrives in a modern, but not very crowded city center called New Greenwich. Will cleans up to dine at a nice restaurant, where a young lady notices him across the room. The waitress advises him to slow down and blend in with the rich, suggesting a nearby casino. At the same time, the timekeepers, a group like the police, find Henry's body. Raymond Leon notices street cameras and checks the footage. When he sees Will's picture, his colleagues wonder if he knows the suspect and if the person has a criminal record. Raymond clarifies that he doesn't know the current Will Salas, but remembers his father. The timekeepers start searching for Will Salas. At the casino, a dressed-up Will meets Philip Weiss, who's considered one of the richest people globally. Will plays a high-stakes poker game, goes all in, and wins, now having over 1,000 years. Philip and his daughter Sylvia, the girl from the restaurant, are impressed. Philip invites Will to his mansion for another party, and Will agrees, partly to see Sylvia again. Getting ready for the occasion, Will buys a Jaguar E-Type and drives to the Weiss mansion on the coast. There, Philip reintroduces him to Sylvia, his wife Michelle, and mother-in-law. They all look the same age. The women are always followed by guards, but Will convinces Sylvia to have some fun. Feeling oppressed, Sylvia agrees, and they go skinny dipping in the ocean. Admitting she wishes for more wild and crazy moments, Sylvia and Will have a good time. However, Philip soon comes looking for her, as he always restricted his family. Just as they manage to dress up, the timekeepers appear and confront Will. Raymond decides to take back the 1,000 years, not believing Will's story. He hints that he knew Will's father and leaves. Will fights off the other timekeepers and takes Sylvia hostage, escaping from the mansion. Raymond commits to chasing them, even taking personal risks others avoided. After a car chase, Will manages to shake Raymond off and returns to the country with Sylvia, who asks to be let go. Back in Dayton, their car gets wrecked in a trap set by the Minutemen. While Will and Sylvia are unconscious, the Minutemen find out Will has little time left and is worth nothing. Sylvia, however, has about a decade, so they take hers instead. Forced to run before they take all her time, Sylvia panics because she's never had so little time. Will reassures her, saying regular people live day by day. Instead of worrying, he takes her to find Burrell, hoping he could give them some time. Sadly, they learn that Burrell drank himself to death with his riches, leaving his wife and newborn alone. Will gets more time by selling Sylvia's diamond earrings, but he knows it's not enough. He calls Philip and demands a 1,000-year ransom for Sylvia's return, to be sent to the Time Welfare Office. Raymond hears the call and warns Will not to follow his father's path. Will discovers that his father's crime was not just stealing time, but something even more serious. Raymond figures out where Will was hiding and promises Weiss that he will bring his daughter back safely. At Will's apartment, he explains that his father was an armed fighter with a trick to win time contests. He shows that you let the other person win at first. They become overconfident and distracted just as the last few seconds run down. Then the arm can be flipped, and the flow reversed. The next day, the ransom isn't paid. Will tells Sylvia it's probably because the timekeepers stopped her father, but she sees it as proof that he doesn't care about her. Still, Will decides to let her go and tells her to call her family. Since they are in the ghetto, he gives her a gun for protection. They share a kiss, and as Sylvia goes to make her call, Raymond appears and almost shoots Will. In a panic, Sylvia shoots Raymond, and Will tries to take his time. However, Raymond has very little time, as timekeepers carry only a small amount to avoid being targets. Since Will plans to take Raymond's car, he generously gives him 4 hours before taking the black Challenger car and leaving him in the ghetto. Sylvia realizes that using a police car would attract attention. They end up stealing another limo, and its passenger, a blonde woman dressed in a certain way. They find out that there's a wanted poster with a reward of 10 years for anyone who can help arrest them. Philip studies a big map with lights and numbers, assuring his business partners that his daughter won't crash the current economic system. An injured Raymond manages to leave the ghetto, getting verbally harassed the whole time, and meets with Philip. Weiss tries to bribe Raymond into rescuing his daughter, but Raymond says that because of Sylvia's actions, there will be an arrest warrant for her. If Philip tries to save his daughter, Raymond will have him arrested as well. Will teaches Sylvia how to use a handgun, and she offers to help him get more time. Together, they drive an armored car through a Weiss bank window and collect many time cassettes. They even invite onlookers to grab some for themselves. The big status board shows the unfairness, and this makes them popular in the ghetto. As they start to give away the time they took, Weiss watches the news report about the robbery, while his wife scolds him for controlling people too much. In a motel, Will and Sylvia become closer. They sense trouble and barely escape Ray and his squad. Ray, on his own, chases them over rooftops in a running gun battle, refusing to let them go. Fortunately, they manage to bribe a bus driver and escape. At a rundown hotel, they rent the entire building for privacy. Fortis and his gang question people until someone reveals where they saw the two runaways. In the hotel room, the young couple discusses what happened in the last few days. Sylvia thanks Will for saving her, even though she almost died several times. Fortis arrives and explains that it's not just the rich and the timekeepers oppressing regular folks. The Minutemen are also allowed to do so as long as they don't start preying on the rich. Fortis challenges Will to an armed fight to the death. As the two men lock arms, Will's time starts running out fast. Will uses his trick to reverse the flow, then pulls a gun from his boot, kills the henchman, and times out Fortis. When Raymond finds the bodies of the Minutemen, Will notices that prices are increasing after the incident. Will feels upset and thinks it will take 1,000,000 years to change the system. Sylvia knows where they could find that much time. Sylvia goes home, pretending to surrender, distracting her father and his many guards. This allows Will to sneak up on him. Holding him at gunpoint, they take Weiss to his office and open a big vault. Inside, they find a single cassette with 1,000,000 years. Philip argues that it's always in someone's interest to live forever, even if it harms others, but the two runaways don't agree. After locking Philip in the office, they go back to Dayton. While keeping the timekeepers busy, they pass the 1,000,000 cassette to Maya, the little girl. Raymond chases Will and Sylvia to a remote area, running toward Livingstone, the next town over. Just as they all start running out of time, Will realizes that Ray is from Dayton, an honest cop just doing his job. However, the timekeeper forgets to get his per diem and dies in front of them as he times out. With only seconds left, Will sees Ray's police car in the distance. He runs and manages to transfer the timekeeper's per diem from the center console device to himself. Then, he runs back to Sylvia and just barely transfers some time, saving her life. The two of them only have enough for a day. The people from Dayton stop working and walk towards New Greenwich. Seeing this on the news, the timekeepers think their work is done. With a reward of 100 years on their heads, Will and Sylvia stop in front of a big building, ready to make their biggest theft, holding their guns. And the movie ends here. Thank you for watching, and I highly recommend watching the entire movie as it is incredibly enjoyable. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel, so you can stay updated and receive notifications whenever we upload new videos.